Hello, I'd like to take a few minutes to give you a quick video tutorial on how to record yourself giving a presentation using OBS Studio, and then how to edit that presentation in a tool called DaVinci Resolve. 18 in this case is the version, and both tools are free. They're fairly comprehensive tools, a lot of features, but they're relatively easy to use too with just a few tips. So let's get started with that. Um, what you're seeing right now is me giving a little video presentation here. I'm actually sharing a screen, which you're going to see in a moment. But right now you're just seeing me sort of up in the upper corner there. And I'm going to make myself smaller. But first, to do that, I'm going to show you my screen. So let's go ahead and unhide the screen. There we are. So now you see um, the OBS Studio application with infinite mirror going inception style here down into the screen as it's recording itself, recording itself, recording itself, and on into time here or into the past. Um, and the first thing that we want to do here is notice I toggled on and off the screen recording with this. So normally when you start a new project, you'll have to create sources. Sources are how you get information into the video to be recorded. So we have a few sources here. I have a little image, which you can see here in the bottom right corner. It's a little logo. So you can add, by clicking the plus symbol, you can add images. There's a lot of different types of things that you can add in. So I just added an image, found my little logo image, and then moved it down and put it in the corner there. Text overlay, maybe if you want to add a little persistent title to your video, you can put the title of your talk there. Um, Audio capture. So for audio input capture, you want to do that. And for that, you just pick whatever device you want to use as your primary recording device. In this case, I'm actually using the headset, and that's just to get the audio a little bit better. If I switch to something like room audio or webcam or whatever, I might get a little bit different recording quality. So usually you want to have a fairly good either like stand microphone that's pointing at you or a headset mic, something like that. Usually webcams, you pick up a lot of echo in the room. So that's just a tip for audio quality. You don't have to get crazy and get the whole boom mic set up that like streamers and stuff have, but um, just a real cheap mic that's kind of pointing at you or a headphone would be great. For video capture, that's my little picture-in-picture video here. With that, you can add in a video capture device here, and that will let you pick from like a webcam or a camera you might have hooked up to your computer. And then I can move that, put that into the scene and move it up here. And then finally, at the bottom is the screen. So everything, you can kind of think of these things as stacking on top of each other. So the image is over the overlay, is over the audio, right? So the screen's at the bottom, and that's how you can still see everything. If I move screen to the top, now you lose everything except the screen record. So let's put that back at the bottom. And so these are your sources for, you can also create scenes, and scenes are little quick buttons here that change the state of the sort, what sources you have and whether those are visible or not and things like that. So we'll see that here in a minute where I'll have a different set of sources for a different scene, and we'll have that at the end. That'll be the big finale. The other thing that you'll notice here is there's an audio mixer panel. Normally, when you bring this in, you're going to get like desktop audio and video capture device audio. So if I turned on video capture device, I would actually be getting the audio from my webcam. I turned that off here. And desktop audio, that would be hearing like bings and blips and any kind of sounds that are happening in the computer. If you want to play a video or something and you want audio to be heard in the recording, then you need to turn on desktop audio. Otherwise, you can turn that off. So right now, or just mute it. So right now, the only thing I'm capturing is my mic audio. And it's good to look at this and just sort of see where your levels are, where your peaks are. If you're hitting up in the red, you might want to pull the volume down a little bit. Your mic might be a little bit hot. If it's really low, you might want to boost that up, or maybe change microphones if you can't get that gain. There are some settings here for this. There's some kind of filters and advanced properties you can mess with. We're not going to get into that. Usually it works pretty well if you have a decent microphone. So that's it. So then once you're ready, you do want to go into your settings here. And with the settings, usually on your output is where you're going to mess with. Simple mode is great. Use your encoder here. It's all kind of set right now because I preset or I'm recording right now, so it's kind of all set. But normally you want to get your encoder set up to hardware if it's an option, where you want to record to, what kind of quality. I'm just doing high quality, medium file size, recording to MP4. That seems to be pretty compatible with a lot of different software, especially DaVinci Resolve, which we'll be using. And then what kind of an encoder? Again, this is hardware. I have an NVIDIA card in my computer and it's using that for encoding. So you would just say okay to that. That's the important bit. Um, for the video, you want to just make sure you're at 1920 by 1080. That's the for both the base and the scaled or resolution, just match those. And that's the kind of file size, the video file size that you want to record. So that's HD, 1920 by 1080. So if you set it to that, you'll get HD video. So that's it for the settings. And then when you're ready, you just click this little start recording button. I am recording now, so it gives me stop and pause. If you need to pause for a moment to continue, you can click that or just stop to end the recording. So now we've got kind of OBS going. You would start recording, and the next thing that you want to do is, and you don't have to start recording first, but you want to make sure that you get your PowerPoint file or whatever you're using for your presentation, get that up here. I'm going to minimize or move OBS to a different window here, just so I'm not seeing the duplication there. So now on the screen here, I have my PowerPoint. I'll go ahead and full screen that. So we've got that. And I would now start the slideshow. So slideshow from the beginning, and kind of knowing that. I'm actually going to bring OBS back in here. Let's tweak this a little bit. Let's get this out of the way. So we don't really need to see a gigantic head talking over the corner if we don't want to. You can move this wherever you want. I'll just snap it up into the upper right. It would be good to have yourself talking, kind of get your camera set so you're not cutting your head off. There are some settings for this. Actually, I do want to go in and take a look at that real quick. We can go into the properties here, and you'll see that there's some features for that. Actually, when you click on it, you're going to see properties and filters. I use the filter, and there's a crop pad effect where you can trim down the width and size and just get it kind of bounded around your head. Otherwise, it'd be really wide and tall, and it's just a lot of background, and I don't really need all that. So I just kind of trimmed it down to fit my head by taking these pixel edges off the tops and sides and everything. So and then you can move that up into the upper corner and you get a nice position. That's good enough, right? And so I'll move this back now that I've kind of finished messing with that. And you should have noticed that change. You should see as I was editing, my little video moved up and out of the way. All right, so now I'm recording my slide. Now is when I'm still recording, or now would be a good time to start recording. I have full screen. Give yourself a beat, kind of get settled, and then what I like to do is actually either give myself a silence break or something obvious in the timeline that like now is when I'm going to start, so I can really quickly kind of find that. One way to do it is give yourself a loud clap in the mic. You can do that. That's like the clacker. That gives you a spike. Or you can just be quiet for a minute and watch it go to 0. And then where your waveform starts, you can clip to there. So anyway, we'll see that here in a minute. Okay, so welcome to the talk about how to record and edit your FEMTC presentation. I'm Brian Klein with Thunderhead Engineering, right? Good intro. Then we go, once you're in here, you can choose to show your mouse or not. That's an option in the screen recording option. There's a setting for that. So I do want it because I tend to talk to things on the screen. Just be careful that you don't leave that hanging out. So I've clicked into the presentation. I now go to the next slide. Now I have some more things to talk about. I go through my list. I show off everything that I want to say. And now I'm done. Thank you very much. I'm now ready for questions, right? And so you would then stop recording at this point and by clicking the stop recording, and your video file would be done. So I'm going to stop recording now and bring another clip and edit that in DaVinci. Okay, so I'm back now. I'm going to continue to work here and we'll see what we get in DaVinci. So open up DaVinci Resolve. This you can install. There'll be a link in the video description here. So we're going to start with this untitled project. We'll just go ahead and double click on that. That launches DaVinci Resolve here. I'll go ahead and close my PowerPoint. I don't need that open anymore. We'll close that. And now we start in this kind of untitled project space. I'm going to jump right into the edit mode here, but what you really need is to get some media in your bin in this area here. So we're going to import media by just right clicking in here and go find the recording that we just made, which is this one. The other one is still going right now. I'm going to go ahead and change the project frame rate to match whatever the frame rate of the video is. So we can get that in here. And now you just drag your clip down to the timeline and drop it. All right. So now that you have your video on the timeline, you can scrub through time, kind of see where things were. I'm hearing, as I scrub, it's kind of doing audio in the background. You can't really hear that probably. But I could get to a point where, okay, this was where, I can look through time here and see. Let's go ahead and find, I think this is my clap. Let's see. Nope. See if I can find, maybe it's here. Yep. So that was the clap spike right there. So what I would want to do now, let's go ahead and stop playback. I would then find this area. And now what you can do is you go into this little razor blade mode right here, and you can come into the timeline and click. Oops. Let's get this back here and click where I want to cut. And now you'll see it splits there. And then I can go back to the little selection tool, grab that part, delete it. And now my video is edited here. And then I could go to the end of the video. Let's say right here, and cut that. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm not a pro with this, so I could cut off the end, right? And now I just have trimmed it down. I just have the video from the beginning to the end that I want. And you can play this back and make sure it sounds good. There's some other things you can do with audio, with some video magic and effects and things like that. I'm not doing any of that stuff. This is like just the basics here. So you could clip, you could insert clips, you can re-record parts. There's a lot you could do here. I would point you to some DaVinci tutorials on that. There's even titles and effects, and there's just stuff you can do. But once you get done with all your edits, we'll go here to the deliver mode. So that gets us into the delivery. All of your kind of like major steps in production are across the bottom with the little rocket as delivery at the end. So this is where you render. You just want to go ahead and come over here. I just click on the YouTube 1080p. That presets everything. That gives me the right kind of resolution. It gives me the right formats and everything like that. I don't want to upload directly to YouTube. And then I'll add to render queue. So it'll say, okay, where do you want this? And I'll say, I want it over here called demo 1 in my videos folder. Save that. You'll notice it gets added to the job queue over here. And now I can click render all. That's going to render. So it's kind of rendering my video in the background. So this will depend on how long your video is and your computer speed and all of that stuff. But that's done. And now if I went and looked in my video folder, I would see demo 1 MP4. I'm going to double click that. And you can see that starting. There's my clap and kind of goes to the end. Nice little video clip. So we'll close that out. And I'm done. I could save this project, save this as something, demo 1, save it, and we're done. So that's it. Hopefully that was useful. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help you out. Thank you.